Here we can see that CO2 levels are at an all-time high of 400 parts per million in our atmosphere. Most people know that when they drive a car, they're releasing more than just CO2 into the air, but they still drive to work and school on a daily basis. Recently, a scientist invented a new engine that is cost-effective, fuel-efficient, and environmentally friendly. So buckle up your seatbelts and hold on tight as we explore the human and non-human actors in our actor network theory of the water-powered car on this episode of Modern Marvels. Cars have been around for over 100 years now and have evolved exponentially since their beginning. Before cars became the social norm in rural areas, these citizens had to take long hikes or ride horses to get anywhere. Essentially, any method of transportation that took forever was their only choice. Because people needed a faster way to travel and a way that was smooth riding, the car was spread to these areas and increased in popularity rather quickly when Henry Ford started mass producing them. This social determinism is why automobiles ended rural isolation and brought urban amenities such as medical care and schools closer to rural America. As for incorporating the water-powered engine, early history of water engine are as basic as using gravity for pumps. At first, any discoveries and inventions used technocratic decision-making because there were only a couple experts worldwide on hydraulics. These technocratic geniuses include Ron Flood, who created the flood pump all on his own in 1618 that uses a simple design by pouring water into a pipe that is at a large distance above the rest of the machine so that the piston is forced up and down. The brine pump from 1817 was invented by another scientist, George von Reichenbach, who created all of the ideas and made all of the decisions on his own. It utilizes pressure to pump salt water through the piston to create mechanical energy. His idea is still used today in current water pumps in vehicles, such as the hydraulic hybrid pump by Dr. David Sandoval, which cuts down on CO2 emissions by 40% and is utilized by UPS in some of its delivery trucks. This technology is now stretched even further with the fully operational 100% water-powered engine. While powerful, it is a fairly simple technology. You simply put water into the device and it extracts the hydrogen from your H2O, where it is burned as a clean alternative fuel, with the only emissions being water vapor.
Dr. Kaminsky came to me and said,
"New device we would like you to promote for us. You're around car owners a lot and you have the ability to influence their norms. You can help them to see that they would save money and time with our new product. We know that as an automobile detailer, you don't make much money, and this would allow you to have more cash, and it would pay to you to promote our product."
I told him it sounded like a good deal, and he let me know there was no catch. He just wanted me to use it in my car and hand out brochures to everyone that was getting their cars detailed at Autobell.
I let Joe know how the car he was supposed to be promoting would work using an empiricist argument. I emphasized its effectiveness off of observations, not just theory. For example, Joe would be able to see and feel how the new engine affects his car, how his car functions and responds. 2 parts hydrogen and 1 part oxygen. Hydrogen is a very clean and very efficient fuel. When it burns it with oxygen to form water vapor, no harmful exhaust fumes or toxins exist. So Joe can see that he can use any water, whether it be tap, rain, or even wastewater. I emphasize empirical evidence and logical relationships among the facts that all we needed was to install a small 1 to 2 liter container into Joe's vehicle, which will have special steel plates which will pass current through the water, and as the gas forms you can see a bubble off the plates and it will rise up to a pressure valve. As you can see through my empiricist argument, Joe's car will be more powerful with water, which is more efficient than gasoline and will not emit any pollutants.
I thought, how is water more efficient and powerful than gasoline? Everything I've seen is high-performance racing or other automotive activities claim you need to shove more and higher octane gasoline into the engine. Based on my experience, I'm credible in this line of work. I'm not some citizen scientist out there doing whatever some glorified scientist tells me to do just so he can have his data for cheap. However, after much thought, I decided to trust Dr. Kaminsky because he was a very intelligent and successful guy. And maybe I could make some Benjamins. I even came up with the catchy name for this invention, the H2Go. It ended up being a pluralistic decision with both of us automobile experts working towards finalizing the invention, promotion, and eventually splitting the profits.
It is true that more gasoline at a higher octane produces more power. But with more fuel, they also force more air for the correct air-to-fuel ratio. Hydrogen doesn't contain all the extra compounds that gasoline does that causes pollution. Without getting into high-level chemistry explanation, there's more potential power per ounce of water than there is per ounce of gasoline. Based on my experimental knowledge in the lab, I have seen that an engine code can go the equivalent of 100 miles on 4 ounces of water. This would be like driving from New York to Los Angeles using only 1 gallon of water. Now, I know that experimental knowledge is not based on independent reality, but rather what the reality I've created in my lab. But I believe my work is as sound as it could be upon release. I've collected this knowledge by studying the device, which you simply pour water into the chamber where the water is stored. In this chamber are palladium plates. A high-frequency electric current is passed through the plates, which causes a process called electrolysis. When the gas has been sufficiently formed, a valve opens to allow the vacuum forces from the engine to take the gases in through a hose attached to the water chamber where it burns this clean fuel.
The first fuel cell was invented by William Robert Grove in 1839, only 39 years after Alessandro Volta invented the battery, or the voltaic cell. The water-powered car will return on Modern Marvels.
Man, I really hate this car. It burns holes in my wallet because I have to fill up on gas once a week. I really wish there were some anomalies in normal science.
Some scientists must have found anomalies, even had some crisis. Because I read about a new car that runs on water. You just fill it up with your tap water from your home and you're good to go for hundreds of miles.
Scientists actually learned how to do that?
Well, at first there was an anomaly, then more. Then it led to take a lot of arguing, experimentation, and data. But eventually they came to an agreement, and then there was a revolution.
Sounds like a good idea for a car. It must really cut down CO2 emissions too if it runs on water.
Yeah, it does. It's safe for the environment and your wallet. Just go to their website, order one up. It's super easy. It's the newest revolution in science.
Now, heading to one of these water-powered engine factories, we talk to a chief process engineer at the Phoenix City Water Engine Plant.
We are especially excited about the possibilities of the water-powered car and are pushing to make it a global adaptation, just like all the older technologies, such as steam-powered turbines.
Some opponents of this new technology say it would be a complete overhaul of the entire automobile industry. It would not only affect the engine, but how every other part of a car works together.
The overall design of the car wouldn't change immediately, and in essence it would be gradual through a transition of hybrids. We understand this technology is new, but we see that people have embraced other technologies and feel it is the right time to introduce it. There were a sufficient amount of hybrids on the market before consumers started going full electric. The resources we have available, the current electric system in the car, is used to electrolyze the water through an electrolysis site itself.
They are even making devices that people can hook into their current cars to make them into hybrids. It is at a much lower cost than a whole car, so it is more suitable for people trying to transition slowly into this new technology.
This kit will only help efficiency, but will not be the fine-tuned water-powered vehicle we have created. It is a solid start for newcomers to the water engine idea and is actually pretty simple for your local auto shop to install.
As for charging, this car does not require the traditional charging station that you would see in an electric vehicle. There are even a few customizable options to meet the needs and wants of any owner.
The collection system would be the only exterior alteration on cars and only if wanted. A car owner can have a collection pan installed or pour some Dasani in the water tank. The fuel essentially is free because it either falls from the sky or is in such a small amount per mile that it doesn't hurt the driver.
What sets H2Go apart from other alternative energy technology companies is their willingness to be open with the public about its potential effects on society.
It's clear that H2Go has been entirely transparent with their issues and plans for their automobile. Secrecy is a large problem in research and development of technology in large companies, and it's nice to see a change in business models and operations.
Dr. Kaminsky and Joe followed ethical norms of science while inventing and promoting the H2Go. They had to make sure they portrayed acceptable behavior for their scientific experiments.
While inventing the H2Go, disinterestedness was my main priority because I wanted this invention to benefit people throughout the world. I aimed to be unbiased in my research because I knew that the world was going to soon run out of fossil fuels and gas prices would just keep rising because of this. I had to do something that helped. I knew I could use electrolysis to create a water-powered engine that would be easy and efficient for all to use, so I worked toward an ethic of communalism. The recognition for me and this great invention for the world. Everyone was doubting the H2Go because they felt water could not be as powerful as gasoline, so I set to resolve that controversy. First, I reviewed my experiment closely in the container installed into his car. The steel plates were passing the current through the water at record speeds. I knew to run new tests on this to make sure my observation was correct. It turns out I was right. The more the car was used, the more powerful it became because the current was actually getting stronger with use. The H2GO was even more powerful than I originally thought. I could not really establish a scientific reason for this, and it was killing me. Ultimately, I just established my observation as deviant and left it at that. Controversy resolved.
At first, I was only concerned with myself. I wanted to make money, and this looked like the perfect opportunity for me. I remember my first question to Kaminsky was, "What's the commission going to be?" But he helped me keep level-headed. We have a theory on how the H2GO car might sweep the nation by helping the world save money while keeping the environment clean. We think this theory could, after the framework, and better explain the reality of how the world works. It really is an awesome invention, and I'm proud to play a role in its promotion. The H2GO is going to be a hit. It is just as powerful as a gasoline-powered car, or even more powerful for that matter, which can be proven by Dr. Kaminsky's experiments. It is also saving our non-renewable resources. I mean, clearly the H2GO car is far more useful than a regular old gasoline-powered car. Scientific controversy resolved.